Hello everybody and welcome to a song review. Today we're going to be covering Juice WRLD's Rich and Blind. So this song is not only my favourite song by Juice WRLD, but it's one of my favourite songs of all time. So Juice WRLD's song Rich and Blind is part of a tribute EP titled Too Soon. This EP was released in memory of deceased rappers Lil Peep and XXXTentacion. For the record, I haven't listened too much of X and not at all in Lil Peep's case. The song was released alongside Legends, another great song by Juice by the way, which I may cover in the future, and was certified gold by the IAA, or the Recording Industry Association of America. So the reason this song is so impactful and special is because of the commentary it shares on a lot of things. As mentioned briefly, deceased rappers passing in untimely fashions at very young ages. This is due to various circumstances, but in this song it's concerning drugs and a homicide, of course, as Peep died from an accidental drug overdose and X was murdered. But not only is the song talking about that, it's about Juice talking about how he's suffering from success because of his various demons such as depression as a result of drugs amongst other things. So just so it's clear, I'm going to be covering only the lyrics that have value in terms of deep meaning and commentary. If it's trivial, then I won't be covering it as there isn't really any point. Without further ado, let's get started. Day Trip took it to 10, fine. Say they want to read my mind, they really want to read my mind. Telling you right now, all that you'll find is a lost soul, rich and blind. They say they want to read my mind. Do you really want to read my mind? I promise all that you will find is a lost soul, rich and blind. So, from lines 3 to 6, of which we get repeated of the chorus, Juice states that if anyone wanted to read his mind, aka the mind of a famous person, that all they will find is a lost soul, rich and blind. Essentially, Juice is saying that money doesn't buy happiness. The blind part is him saying that being rich has blinded him, as the money of being rich allows him to mask his pain. So because he is wealthy, he can consume himself in the haze and blind himself away from the demons in his own head. I love this because you really get the full picture of just how stuck Juice is, caught in a vicious circle that he can't get out of, that he sees is too much of a challenge to attempt to break out of. It makes me feel somber that he lived his life in the same decimated state up until his death. Who knows, maybe he would have finally climbed to the top of that hill and succeeded in his journey of recovery, but of course he died in a very unprecedented way. I also like this just due to its unveiling of life as a rich and famous person. Money doesn't buy happiness, and he's making that very apparent. I know I have a purpose, but I don't see the purpose. I believe this is him saying that he knows he has a purpose as an artist, as a human, but he doesn't see the purpose of it, as he doesn't see the purpose of life in general. This for me is very shaking. It's bleak to hear that as an artist he didn't see value in himself, only the value of what impact it had on others. It's crushing to hear that essentially his biggest mentioned reason for him staying alive is his followers. It's seemingly stating that all of what he is doing isn't for him, it's for his fans. He is stuck in a limbo that his fans control. When he isn't making music, he's possessed in a dark web that he only breaks out of when he makes music. They tell me the death of me gon' be the Perkies. This line is very chilling, as of course on December 8th, 2019, Juice WRLD unfortunately passed away from a seizure as a result of concealing Percocets in his body to avoid getting detained by police awaiting him at the airport. But it's so tragic yet poignant from this lyric that it leaves me very sad thinking about it, as if people knew that one day or another Percocet would eventually get him, and obviously well it did. This is always a shuddering lyric to hear for obvious reasons, but even more so for me, as the day he died I just got done listening to this very song before hearing the news. I know they lace pills, I bought them on purpose. Life's unreal and death's uncertain. When he says this, it could be due to the will of dice roll in his own life. Life's unreal and death's uncertain is the roulette of life and the possibility of you never know what can happen next. This lyric teases the status of Juice's feelings towards death. It's as if he's going through the motions. Previously we've heard him say that he doesn't see the purpose of life, but his fans give his life purpose. This lyric states his carelessness for his own life regardless of that fact. Not out of a disrespect to the fans, but to be able to feel any sort of thrill in his endless suffering. It's very clear later in the song as well that drugs don't excite him, and he only takes them just to feel something, an emotion, an impulse, anything other than pain and sadness. This is another example of feeling something other than that, aka anticipation, the unknown. This kind of leaves you speechless when you look at it in the grand scheme, as I mentioned. I can't really say anything else other than it being so tragic and heartbreaking. It's funny how the blessed ones had the most curses. Not only talking about X and Peep, who both had references in their own music about suicidal thoughts and depression, but also Juice is talking about himself as well. He himself is blessed with a doting fan base, a thriving, successful career, wealth, yet still haunted by his own mental health. It really does ponder the question on what makes us happy as humans. It's such a philosophical question, of course. It comes down to the type of person you are. For Juice, it's hard to say because we don't know him personally. I think within this song's timeline, though, it seems like Juice is in a grieving phase, at least over X, as they were friends, which of course makes his behaviour unpredictable, so it's difficult to answer that question in this instance. Of course, as well, he may not be depressed necessarily just all the death of X and other stuff like that. It may be down to other stuff within his life. But yeah, that's that. Heart falling to the floor if we lose another person. Juice here is stating that he can't face losing another rapper in the community. He's already struggled coming to terms with the prior deaths of rappers that he can't emotionally handle losing any more people in that sphere. I think this also supports my theory of his grief. Take 3 more, I swear it's worth it, but it ain't no world tour if I'm laying in a hearse. This is talking about the value of his own life in comparison to the bigger picture of his life as a beloved public figure. When he divulges about taking 3 more because he swears it's worth it, he's perhaps talking about drugs, specifically Percocets, maybe taking 3 more. Those would guarantee make him overdose and kill himself, but he can't do it because of his obligation to the fans, and perhaps any loved ones too. He knows a lot of his fans rely on his music, as a lot of them have used it to find refuge and seek reliability within their own mental health battles. Juice knows that potentially Juice continuing to live helps his fans find enough reason to continue to live too. Therefore, it creates a mutual reliance to keep both sides alive. That being said, it's loose. His battle is a struggle, but for now, that's a huge factor in keeping him fighting. This is my favourite lyric in the entire song. The messaging and layout of it shakes your very soul. It really gives you everything you need to know about Juice's mindset. It's very clear that in every time he feels it's worth killing himself, he stops himself because the fans will be distraught. They can't come to live shows or listen to his music, clinging on to hope if his death is another contributor to their misery. So he feels he must hang on. I remember losing little bro, he laying in the dirt. Now I'm bound to drop a tear or two on every single verse. This is presumably about X as he was shot and killed. Laying in the dirt could be a turn of phrase for that. Or he could be talking about the dirt that gets poured onto a coffin. Or, of course, of which the coffin also gets submerged in. I think this signifies obviously more grief. He's heavily affected by X's death. Good terms, bad terms, when they die is the worst. A number of public figures revealed their relationship status with XXXTentacion after his death. Some people, like Rob Stone, fixed their relationship with him, while others, like DJ Academics, revealed that they never got the chance to make amends. Little Peep and Little Tracy were also not on good terms when Peep passed in November 2017 because Tracy wasn't getting as much media attention. That's via Genius. I like this. Juice is saying no matter what your status is with either party, good or bad, it still affects you the same. It's still a horrible thing to happen to someone you know / knew. In a way, I think he's trying to remove any guilt from both parties. Let bygones be bygones, we're all in this together sort of thing, which is a nice gesture on his part. Sometimes when I'm high, I feel high in reverse. Juice is expressing that he has the opposite effects when he is high. When you're high, everything is supposed to feel euphoric and carefree. But when he is high, it makes him feel depressed and, well, low. I ain't going out like that, you fuck with me, you get the work. You ain't gonna see me in no wooden box, I'm gonna shoot him first. Here Juice is saying that if he is paused with the same threats as X, he'll shoot them first, showcasing his fear that he could be a possible future victim of the same similar fate. It may also feel that he's destined for the same fate, not only because of, what rappers died in that year, but also rappers that have died across the years, throughout the 90s, like Tupac and Biggie, all from obviously being killed. And also, obviously, in general, so many rappers have also died from drugs as well, so maybe he just thinks it's fair that it's going to be one of those things that are going to get him. Obviously, in this lyric, though, he's talking about the fear of being murdered and suffering that same fate. I believe Juice is trying to tell us that if he does die, he'll go out on his own terms and not anybody else's. He's determined to not go down easy. He will fight for as long as he physically and mentally is able. I promise y'all, I'm a finna touch the world. Yeah, I'm a touch the earth. Here Juice is sharing that with the position he's in, he only plans to reach the summit of it. I enjoy this because it shows that he still has will left in him. Clearly it's for his fans, he's determined to make them proud. If he's climbing to the mountain, he will touch the peak of it. Hold on, your girl on my line, I think I made us fuck her first. Yeah, gotta have some crude humour just to keep a good vibe going, just to keep the song grooving. So, all my money longer, shout out bro Uzi, keep my eyes in the sky, cause that's where I'm moving. Say they want to read my mind, they really want to read my mind, telling you all you'll find is a lost soul, rich and blind. They say they want to read my mind, do you really want to read my mind? I promise all that you will find is a lost soul, rich and blind, is a lost soul, rich and blind. Blind, Blind, Blind. This is dedicated to you if you felt the lowest of the low. I know how it feels. You don't want to struggle anymore. Of course, that's self-explanatory, talking about people who have depression, who are struggling with their own life and mental capacity. Used to ball hard, ain't no triple doubles anymore. Bitch, I'm talking about my tears, turn around and face my fears. Juice here is earnestly mentioning that he used to ball, quote unquote, of course being a synonym for cry, hence a line about his tears, in further elaborating and reiterating just how much he is immobilised by his pain. I haven't felt this low in years. All I have to say is it's very much evident by the rest of the song that you are listening to a whirlwind of hurt. I like to think towards the end of his life, when he found his girlfriend, who he mentions fondly in other songs, that he found some happiness, but hearing him at this stage is absolutely wrenching. Of course, he never fully broke free from that depression, but at least at the end of his life, he found pieces of happiness around him, I'd say. We die in free like musketeers. Dying in freeze, quote unquote, is a superstition that was popularised in the music world after Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison all died at the age of 27 within a 2-year span. Juice believes that this will carry over with Peep and X. Some people believe it could be Fredo Santana, a fellow Chicago rapper who passed on January 19, 2018, or Jimmy Wopo or Wopo, who was shot and killed the same day as XXXTentacion on June 18th, 2018. Not sure what produced this theory, but arguably it was true. It may be because of the sheer quantity of rappers that shared mutual adversities from around this time. An interesting line nevertheless though. Ain't too many real M-words left in here. RIP to all my peers. Smoke a loud pack, what you say I can't hear, but I still hear the fallen ones in my ears. Why do we live to die? Here Juice is saying, despite smoking a loud pack, aka weed, that he can't hear anybody around him due to being in his slumped melancholy haze. But the only thing that can break through his sound barrier is the fallen rappers. He then contemplates life itself, asking himself, why do we live on Earth to eventually leave Earth? I like these lyrics a lot, intense, deep. I see this as a metaphor for his loneliness, of course. In actuality, he can hear everything just like normal, but when he smokes, all he can hear is the voices of his fallen brethren from his own grief. This is a very hard-hitting section of the song for sure. It takes us just a little further into the psyche of Juice at this time, so engulfed in self-loathing and grief that everything around him is phased out, harrowing to say the least. When it's my time, I'll leave behind my end, my 13 Reasons Why. So if you've never seen the Netflix show 13 Reasons Why, it's about a teenage girl named Hannah Baker who records 13 tapes where she explains her decision to kill herself. She says if he eventually did lose his battle with mental health, as he suspects he will, he wouldn't go without his reasons and from his own doing. And then following that, you've got the chorus, say they want to read my mind, they really want to read my mind, telling you all that you'll find is a lost soul, rich and blind. They say they want to read my mind, do you really want to read my mind? I promise all you will find is a lost soul, rich and blind. Is a lost soul, rich and blind, 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 blind. So let's go into more details for my esteem for this song. So the reason I love this song so much is the different way it serves a purpose. I mean, of course, it's sort of Juice's diary for his internal thoughts and struggles, also his grief and his loneliness. His will to not be another statistic of another rapper being dead by drugs or murder. A message to the fans that they're the only other people keeping him going, otherwise he would be dead. It's also a message to other rappers out there to be able to find the same level of haven that he's found with his fans, and just to find something that allows them to cling on to their life somehow, much like he's found something that allows him to want to cling on to his own life. But also it kind of serves as like a mortuary as well. Juice is saying if you can't do that, if you can't hang on, then you're accepted by Juice, but just make sure that you leave the reasons why for the fans, for the people that love you, so they can get closure from it. But he knows even if he can't save his own life, he might be able to save somebody else's. So I think he's also doing it to help the fans as well, not just the rappers, to help them in the same way. It's also a testimonial song as well to fallen rappers, X and Little Peep, of course. And I think the fact that you can derive so many meanings from this song and so many purposes, of course by design as to why it was written by Juice, is why it's one of the best. And the fact that Juice WRLD obviously died a year and a half later after writing this as well, it makes it that little bit more sadder. Of course it shows that he struggled within his life and he really found it difficult, but it also shows us what a kind person he is, making a song like this to serve as like a therapeutic place for people to come and listen to this song and hopefully find his advice and hopefully take his advice. I feel like Juice wants to save everybody, but he also knows that not everybody can be saved, and that's why he's leaving the two ends to those messages, because he feels like he can't even save himself. Anyway, with all that being said, that'll do it for this video. See you later.